Have you ever seen someone get expelled for something they said? My senior year, this girl Madison ruled our school like she owned it. Her mom was the superintendent, so she basically could do whatever she wanted. She spent months making this transfer student Jake's life hell because he had a thick accent from moving here from Alabama. Madison would mock his accent in front of everyone, call him hillbilly, and once even recorded him asking a question in class and posted it on social media with laughing emojis. Teachers looked the other way because her mom controlled their jobs and nobody wanted to risk their careers over one kid. What Madison didn't know was that Jake's dad was deployed overseas in Afghanistan. His mom worked 3 jobs to keep their apartment while dealing with constant anxiety about her husband's safety. Jake wore the same few shirts every week because money was tight, which gave Madison even more ammunition. The harassment escalated when Madison started a group chat called Hillbilly Watch, where kids would share photos of Jake and make fun of everything from his lunch to his secondhand backpack. 20 students joined in, posting memes and cruel comments daily. Jake's grades started slipping because he was constantly stressed and humiliated. Madison would wait until the cafeteria was packed to pull her worst stunts. She'd throw food at his table, trip him while he carried his tray, and once even dumped chocolate milk on his only decent shirt right before he had to give a presentation. The janitor felt so bad he gave Jake a school t-shirt to change into. Teachers either pretended not to see what was happening or gave weak warnings that Madison ignored completely. Her mom had made it clear that any teacher who caused problems for her daughter would find themselves transferred to the worst schools in the district. Then one Thursday during lunch, Jake's phone rang and he immediately stepped outside to take the call. Through the cafeteria windows, we could see him pacing frantically, then stopping suddenly like he'd been hit by a truck. He just crumpled against the brick wall, his whole body shaking. When he came back inside 15 minutes later, his face was completely pale and his hands wouldn't stop trembling. Kids started pointing and whispering, sensing something major had happened. Madison spotted her chance immediately. She climbed up on her table so all 300 students could see her clearly. The entire cafeteria turned to watch, sensing drama. "Hey everyone, look at Jake having another one of his pathetic breakdowns," she yelled, pointing directly at him. "Maybe if your family wasn't such white trash living in poverty, you wouldn't be such a complete mess all the time. Seriously, can someone get this hillbilly some tissues before he starts crying like a baby again?" The cafeteria fell completely silent. Every conversation stopped mid-sentence. 300 students put down their forks and stared. Jake looked up slowly and said in barely a whisper, "My dad just got killed by a roadside bomb in Kandahar." The silence was deafening. Everyone expected Madison to apologize, to show some basic human decency, to realize she'd crossed a line that should never be crossed. Instead, she tilted her head and smirked. "Well, at least now you have a real excuse for being such a pathetic loser, instead of just being naturally worthless. One less redneck soldier in the military, right?" 4 teachers witnessed every word. Mrs. Patterson, the lunch monitor, was standing right behind Madison. Mrs. Williams, the assistant principal, was doing his daily rounds. Even Frank, the head custodian, stopped mopping to stare in complete horror at what he'd just heard. The cafeteria erupted. Students started yelling at Madison, calling her disgusting and heartless. Some kids were crying. Others were filming everything on their phones. Madison finally realized she'd gone too far when she saw the teachers' faces. Security was called over the intercom within 5 minutes. Madison was escorted out while 300 students watched in stunned silence. Her superintendent mom couldn't protect her from this one. There are some lines even privilege can't cross. The school board held an emergency meeting that same evening. Every member had already seen the videos by then. Madison was permanently expelled before sunset, and her mom quietly resigned the following week to avoid the scandal. Sometimes even untouchable people discover they're not actually untouchable after all.